Why Walmart is leaving. This video is about investing in commercial real estate, in commercial property. Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. So investing in commercial real estate is generally pretty rewarding. There are some solid commercial property investments and there are some that are not so solid. I'm going to review those in this video, starting with Walmart. Walmart, as of April 2025, this month, Walmart is closing stores in 6 different states. They're closing a lot of stores. And California, they're closing the most number of stores. So they're closing stores in Georgia, Ohio, Maryland, Wisconsin, Colorado, and California. If you're a commercial property investor, this is what's known, you know this. Walmart is known as an anchor tenant. They're a big, well-known branded store that everyone basically all over the world knows about. So that's called an anchor tenant. That sort of tenant in a commercial property pays a lot of the rent, the lease income to keep that commercial property going. So when a huge anchor tenant like Walmart begins closing stores, you have to pay attention to see what the ripple effects might be in the rest of the commercial property sector. So when we're investing in commercial property, there's more than one way to do that. You can be an organizer, someone who organizes a bunch of investors to make a primary initial investment in commercial property, or you could invest in commercial property by investing in investment vehicles that are offered to the public, and there are a lot of those. Commercial property REITs, real estate investment trusts, for example. So as of April this month, Walmart has begun closing a lot of stores in a lot of states. So why are they closing stores in this many states? So, the issue with commercial property is that when store traffic fluctuates, the fixed costs of operating that location become a larger percentage of the store's income or a smaller percentage, depending on how the traffic changes. If store traffic is dropping, the fixed costs, those are things like the utilities, the insurance, the lease, paying on the lease to the landlord. Those costs, they can't be reduced just because the number of customers has been reduced. So the fixed costs stay the same. If the store traffic drops, that store location can become unprofitable. So Walmart is closing a lot of stores in a lot of different states because they're no longer profitable locations. The fixed costs have become a larger and larger percentage of the store's income. So they're closing stores. A decline in the store traffic, the fixed costs start making a larger percentage, or I should say taking a larger percentage of the store's income, and eventually it can become unprofitable. California has the majority of the store closings. So there are a lot of reasons why that's happening in California. So there has been migration out of California since the 2020 timeframe, the COVID days. The cost of living in California is high. That's another reason for the out migration. And so, California has seen a population loss that reduces store traffic. So a lot of the stores in California are probably suffering from those issues, the population drop. And there are other things going on in that state, and they're kind of well publicized. I don't want to go into them, but you get the idea. So what options remain then for people who are still living in those areas, right? Where do you buy from? If you're thinking about buying something and you're used to having a fairly convenient local place to buy and it closes, the first thing you think about is switching to online, right? To replace as a substitute for being able to drive to a local brick and mortar store online and then wait for the delivery. You can drive to a local store if you can find one. Walmart is a pretty big footprint. Generally, when a Walmart is put up, it puts a lot of other stores out of business. So sometimes if the Walmart leaves, there are no other options left because the smaller stores can't compete when the Walmart was healthy and they go out of business. So a lot of this can switch to online. People can say, I've got no choice, I'm going to have to switch to online. So there has been an 8% growth year over year in online shopping. And that fluctuates over time. Online shopping has been around for a while, right? We all know it's growing. When you're even if you have the options of driving to a local store, when you weigh that with the convenience of the online shopping, you really have to balance those two. Am I okay waiting for the delivery, or do I need it right now? And then you're willing to get into traffic and drive to the local store. That sort of goes into your thinking. So store traffic, though, brick and mortar store traffic is declining because online shopping is increasing. That's part of the reason for these states losing their Walmarts. So because we're talking about investing here, you have to understand that when you're investing in commercial property and the main anchor tenant leaves, that's not good for your investment. So where can you invest, safely, safely in commercial property and commercial real estate these days? So there are several options, okay, for commercial real estate investment. Strip malls. Okay, what's in a strip mall? Strip malls have stores like bike shops, music stores, auto parts stores, and so on. Strip malls, usually local, fairly convenient to get to. Smaller stores, individual stores in the strip mall. Shopping malls, kind of just the opposite. A huge, massive collection of stores is another option for commercial real estate investment. Office properties, another option for commercial real estate investment. So I would say that because these types of stores are also competing with online shopping, strip malls may not be a good investment. Shopping malls, kind of the same. If you can identify the stores in the shopping mall as having everything available online, you have to wonder, is a shopping mall a good investment? Office properties. So I want to say something about office properties because they have been in the news because of COVID and the work from home. So the work from home is kind of in decline. Office properties will be coming back. More and more companies are requiring staff to be on site, to be on the location. So office properties, of these three, strip mall, shopping mall, office properties, I would, even though these are sort of out of favor right now, office properties, I would say in the future, because of the ending of work from home, I would say I'd be more inclined to invest in office properties because they will eventually ramp back up in importance as the work from home comes to an end. There's a time and a place for everything. During COVID, it made sense. Everyone was working at home, so there's no need for office space. But the pandemic has been over for a few years. So office properties are coming back because more people are returning to the office. So for investing out of these three, strip mall, shopping mall, office property, I would go with this one. So back to Walmart for a second here. What are their options? What sort of things is Walmart doing to counter this trend, the online growth in retail? Because Walmart recognizes that Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and those sorts of online stores, Shopify, are competing with Walmart in the sense of the burden of getting into the car and fighting traffic to get to the store, right? So Walmart has introduced online shopping. It's been a while. They've had this going for a while on their website. The only problem with Walmart's online option for shopping is that further reduces their own store traffic. So they're sabotaging their own stores by telling their customers, you don't need to come into the store, you can order everything online. If you were okay waiting for delivery from the other retailers, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, and others, then just use the Walmart online shop. So that's going to further reduce the traffic in their brick and mortar stores. So if you're a commercial property investor, you need to keep that in mind. And this is sort of a common response of brick and mortar retailers to the competition from the online retailers is to create their own online website. That's going to reduce the attractiveness of investing in commercial property that involves these sorts of large stores. So one thing Walmart is doing, though, that will keep their stores around longer, in-store groceries, because for now, most people still like to go into the grocery to look at the food because there's a big difference from buying something that you're not going to consume, right? Something you're not going to eat or drink. Like if you're going in to buy a microwave, you don't need to see that in person. You can order that online. But when it comes to food, people are much more conscious of, they're much more concerned with looking at the product because they're going to consume it. So the in-store grocery that Walmart has rolled out in a lot of their stores, that will be good for now for their brick and mortar stores. So they're reducing traffic with the online website, but they're improving traffic with the in-store groceries that they have. So if I were Walmart, I would hang on to the online shopping, but I would emphasize the in-store groceries just to keep assuming they want to keep their brick and mortar up and running, and I think they need to. I don't think, if Walmart switched to totally online, I would not recommend. If I was a business consultant and I was making a recommendation, I would say you might want to think about that in 5 to 10 years. But for now, people do still like to drive into the store, especially for groceries. So with Amazon and the other retailers, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, you cannot drive to the grocery to look at the food and things you would drink and eat. You can't do that. You have to order online only. So Walmart has an advantage there with the in-store grocery. So there are other commercial real estate investing options. Office properties, I've already talked about. Those will improve because, after the pandemic ended, the need for work from home there's a time and a place for everything. During the pandemic, it made sense. People were working from home. After the pandemic ended, companies you've seen this, right? We've all seen this. Companies are requiring staff to come back to the office. So I think office properties is a good option for investing. Public storage facilities, because if you're living in a place and you want to hold on to possessions, but you want to downsize to a smaller place, public storage is an option to store some of the stuff that you have. Warehouses. So these are some of the best options. Warehouses. Okay. Now, the reason warehouses are attractive is because of online shopping. Warehouses store the goods that get shipped out to customers. Warehouses, that's probably a very decent commercial property investment these days. Distribution centers that handle the last mile to the customer. I mean, for example, if you order something from Amazon, there are local distribution centers that actually go take the stuff that you order and deliver it locally. I mean, if you think about it, if you order something online and you see that I just did this the other day. The home office was in New York, where the company was, but the products show up at your door. There's no way they could have come from New York. There just wasn't enough time. So what they're doing is they're storing in warehouses. They have local last mile distribution centers to actually make the deliveries to the customer. And in general, if you're investing in commercial real estate, getting a 5 to 15% return is a reasonable expectation. So I just want to recap. If you're a commercial property investor, this could be a trend. Walmart is closing a lot of stores in a lot of states. They're still going to have a lot of stores remaining, but this could be a trend for them as they ramp up their online shopping, that they're going to cut out of those leases. And that means if you're investing in that kind of commercial property where you lose a huge anchor tenant and the value of your investment can be adversely affected, you want to watch out for that. And if you want to stick with commercial real estate investing, some of the best options are those that cater to the e-commerce trend, or that have been catering to it. Warehouses and distribution centers. Office buildings is another option that's going to be returning. It might take a while because the requirements for people to come back to the office, they're still ramping up. They're still in the process of ramping up. But once those are back, where all employees must be in the office 5 days a week, office properties will be a reasonable investment again. But some of the other options, strip malls and shopping malls, you really want to be careful there. If you're in a location where, you can somehow demonstrate that, okay, in this area, maybe a rural area for whatever reason, where the delivery times are too long because the population is widely dispersed, and people don't like waiting to have things delivered, you might say, okay, a strip mall that's fairly local might be a decent investment. A company that builds those and operates those might be a good investment. Shopping malls, I don't really see a good future for those because those tend to be located in population centers. And in population centers, the e-commerce warehouses and distribution facilities, that's where they're building those because that's where all the customers live. So I don't think shopping mall investing is, I don't think that's safe. I don't recommend it. So that's kind of a short look at commercial property investing. We saw this that Walmart is closing a bunch of stores in a lot of different states, and we thought that could be an indicator of things to come for Walmart, and that's a huge anchor tenant. The same dynamics they're having, financial dynamics they're having, it is surely being experienced by everyone else. So you just want to be cautious with the type of commercial property that you invest in. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, and I really want to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day.